This is Toronto's plan to massively increase poverty. Money is spent by governments in silence, in the shadows. Most government decisions are kept out of the knowledge of the public simply because there would be outrage if people actually knew what was taking place. Today we will outline Toronto's plan to massively increase poverty, increasing taxation, and causing the middle class to evaporate into the pages of history. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. So let's get into their plans today, and I will show you all the details you need to understand why this is the case. Beginning with this right here. Tory, this is the mayor of Toronto, pitches a $2 road toll and more as $200 million solution. So the mayor of Toronto has suggested that by adding a toll road onto these two highways, you are going to be able to raise $200 million, which is to make up for some of the shortfall in the transportation here in Toronto. This has been approved by the City of Toronto. It has to go on to further approvals, but at this point, it seems to be nearly unanimous. This is quite common in areas outside of Ontario, outside of Canada. Driving through the US, I've experienced the toll roads myself, but I never really realized why this was the case. When you already pay so much in taxation towards the roads specifically, and then you have to pay into that again when you use it. It's like a consumption tax that you pay every time you go to buy something at the store. Right here, they claim that it will bring in $200 million. They say that it will go directly into transportation, into the roads, and be able to make up for the shortfalls. This is generally overstated, as we see. Any expenditures that they will need to incur to make this happen, it will of course overshoot on the budgets, and then the actual rate at which they say they will bring in that revenue will be lower. Okay, that's that. Let's look at this next article here out of the Globe and Mail. Toronto is one step closer to imposing road tolls on two major commuter highways after City Council voted overwhelmingly in the favor of the project. So that was actually 32-9. So right there. This here is being seen as a great way to bring in more money for the city, and surely it will. Of course, it will divert a lot of traffic because those individuals who take the highway will now decide to take the roads instead. That will add a lot more traffic to the roads, and essentially people will become frustrated and decide to take public transit instead. This is all part of Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030 to try and bring people into the mega city centers. Let's look more into what we have seen with toll roads, one of those being the 407. So we have a major highway here, and this is the world's first all-electronic toll road. This here was an expensive project and now is owned, this is my problem here, now it is owned right here by Cintra. Cintra, 43% ownership of this highway. When you have private foreign corporations owning infrastructure, it becomes a little dangerous. That is very concerning to me. You know, there could be holding stake in certain companies and things could be okay. But when they start owning, any foreign company starts to own your infrastructure piece by piece, it becomes more dangerous. That is very concerning to me, the 407 being one, and this could happen with any of the highways, any of the even corporations, if they own land, if they start to own infrastructure, basically. This becomes a very big concern, and that is what's happening right here in Ontario right now. Look at this. With all the money being made by the city, we have to start asking questions. Where is all this revenue going? This right here is the parking ticket revenues, and I want to pay attention to 2014 specifically. This here, I'll highlight it for you. $100 million generated in the city of Toronto in 2014 exclusively on parking tickets. Think about that for a second. They want to charge everybody $2 to use the highway. So if you're going to take the highway to and from work, that's $4 a day, so that you can drive your car on this highway when they're already bringing in $100 million a year on parking tickets. And it was only, I think it was maybe 2012 where I read you the documents that said they were upset because they didn't bring enough revenue in on the parking tickets. Where is the money going? When you're talking about $200 million being a solution and you're already bringing in $100 million on parking tickets alone. And this isn't Toronto's, it is a big city, but $100 million for a few million people in the city. This here is a major cash grab for the city, and of course that money is being squandered. Look at this. You want to talk about squandering the money? Talk about the G20 and the G8. If you were around in the city of Toronto at the time, you would have seen what the government was spending money on. I mean, they cordoned off a huge section, had massive security everywhere. They had police down the streets. I actually saw interrogations of people taking place. Myself walking down the street, being stared down like I was a prisoner. And that's essentially what happened to downtown Toronto. Now look at the money, the squandering. They spent $1.1 billion hosting the 2010 G8G20 summit. $1.1 billion. And they're trying to tell us that they're going to work so hard and utilize their intelligence to charge people $2 to take the highways that are already being paid for. They've been there for a very long time. And they're going to charge people more money on top of that. Meanwhile, spending $1 billion on a G20, G8 summit that nobody cares about. This right here is utter hypocrisy. Lies. Look at this. City Council voted on Wednesday to approve a $10 billion budget for 2016, including, this is earlier this year, of course, including a 1.3% property tax hike. All right. So we have to pay more on our property taxes year over year. You own that house, so you think. Stop paying your property taxes and you'll see how fast things change. Let's move on quickly. As you look at this, Ontarians see higher hydro bills as consumption comes down. So you consume less, yet you pay more. And that is this new system where no matter what it is, you pay more and receive less in return. Get used to it, everyone. Here's how much carbon pricing will likely cost households. They did a little review here and essentially saying that individuals are going to be charged in order for the country to reduce its carbon emissions. That's interesting. So you already pay all these taxes federally, you pay them provincially or to your states, you pay them to your municipalities, to your counties, wherever. any level of government that exists, you're already paying different taxes to them. And then on top of that, they put in these other taxes like carbon taxes, but they don't necessarily say that. You're not going to get a bill when you go buy something at the store and it's, you get your provincial tax, you get your federal tax, and then you'll see carbon tax. No. It's stuck into the price. All of a sudden you go buy beef and it's $1 more per pound. You ask, why has this store increased their prices? That store doesn't necessarily have to increase their prices. The price they pay for that beef might increase because, of course, we saw the articles that when cows pass gas, that in fact causes global warming. Therefore, you have to pay more for that piece of that cow. This is the backwards level that we see in the governments today. Food prices will rise in 2017, and it's good news for local farmers. Sure, prices rising are good. However, most of these industries are subsidized by the government anyway. So we're already paying into that taxation, and people don't even realize that. But that's just the fact. We pay more for electricity. We pay more for food. We pay more on our taxation, like property taxes. We are paying for our roads, and they want to then charge us for every kilometer or mile driven now. That's the new plan, is to disappear the middle class. They wanted to make the middle class a thing of the past. They want you to go in your textbooks when you're in school and you flip through the pages and you read a section about the middle class as if it was something far back in those pages of history. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. And last but not least, this video being informative means you will find my book, The Money GPS, even more informative. I have diagrams, I have charts in this book that will explain this very complicated subject of economics, of finance, into its most simple form. So you can actually look through the book over at Amazon. They have a look inside feature which will allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.